Well, good morning, folks. Well, I'm here in West Cork once again. Early morning, sun has arisen 20 minutes ago, and I'm killing some time whilst I wait for a boat to take me to my final West Cork offshore island. The tranquility here this morning is just divine. Nature at its best, bird song, beautiful spring sunshine.
The Blue Pool here in Glengariff in County Cork is a natural tidal harbour where a river meets the sea, creating a unique and beautiful natural landscape. It's located within a forested area accessible from Glengariff village, offering trails and walkways with views of the harbour. The area, including the Blue Pool and surrounding woods, was the site of early romantic retreats created by wealthy landowners. The first Earl of Bantry diverted the river and created an island and lodge, entertained visitors and stocked the woodlands with game and exotic species. In the early 19th century, it became fashionable for landowners to create romantic retreats inspired by travel and the wilderness. The first Earl of Bantry chose this area of the Glengariff River as a location for his retreat. He had the river diverted and created an island with a balconied lodge which he used to entertain guests. He stocked the woodlands with game, exotic birds, and even imported bison from America. The Blue Pool is now accessible from the village of Glengariff, with trails and walkways through the forested area, offering views of the harbour. This is how a German prince staying with the first Earl of Bantry described Glengariff, whose Irish name, Glawngarv, means rough glen, in 1828. The two men shared a love of romantic landscapes. Other visitors included poet William Wordsworth, playwright George Bernard Shaw, and author William Thackeray, who considered his surroundings exceedingly wild and so picturesque. By 1835, the first hotel opened. A visit by the Prince of Wales on a tour from Bantry to Killarney in 1858 sealed Glengariff's position as a premier tourist resort. Taking a carriage along the Prince of Wales route became one of the top visitors' attractions in Ireland.
The sun is beginning to elevate over the trees, casting these beautiful golden, autumnal-looking shadows on the vegetation and the rocks. But it's early spring, but the colours are marvellous, and the bird life and the bird presence here is just beautiful. I would encourage one and all to get out of the labbas in the mornings whilst this weather is with us and enjoy what this country can bestow upon us. Makes you feel well. So now I'm making my way to the ferry. So Garinish Island is my destination for today. Garinish Island in Bantry Bay in West Cork.
The surface of the bay, it's glass flat. The reflections, there's not a cloud in the sky. Looking out there towards the mountains, on towards the Beara Peninsula. It is so magnificent. This will be one beautiful day. I can't wait to get onto Garinish Island. I've picked the location, and once again, I've picked the perfect day. Walking along the pier here at Glengariff, it feels like I'm on an island in Greece, and Kate and I have visited, I think, 7, if not 8, of the Greek islands in the Mediterranean, and savoured and soaked up the beautiful sunshine and environment. Standing here this morning on the pier, with weather like I'm having now, it is divine. What other word can I use to describe my time here this morning in West Cork? Divine. There's been a change of plan. We're now going to take the Harbour Queen 2. Well, we're ready to depart Glengariff, and we're destined for Garinish Island.
Well, we're here on Garinish Island. I'm here at last on Garinish Island on the most beautiful morning that anybody could wish for. The weather is stunning. It's calm, warm, so picturesque. So come along with me and let's adventure around Garinish Island here in Bantry Bay together. Okay, let's go. Now, of course, when you venture into offshore islands, expect many steps. But the peace and the quietness here, and we were told to be on the lookout for the white-tailed eagles. Garinish Island, also known as Ilnacullen, is an island in Glengariff Bay, an inlet of Bantry Bay near the shore of the Beara Peninsula in County Cork. It is a tourist attraction with walled gardens and a Martello Tower. The island was designed by Harold Peto for its owner, John Annan Bryce, who lived 1841 to 1923 and was a Belfast native who purchased the island from the War Office in 1910. Bryce's son Roland bequeathed the island to the Irish nation in 1953. It was taken over and is still maintained by the Office of Public Works. Renowned for its gardens and architecture, a mansion was designed by Peto but was never built. The island has played host to writers including George Bernard Shaw and George William Russell. The island extends to 15 hectares, approximately 37 acres, and is renowned for its gardens, which flourish in the mild humid microclimate of Glengariff Harbour, assisted by a mainly pine shelter belt. Structures on the island include the Clock Tower, a Grecian temple, a Martello Tower, and an Italian casita. John Bryce and his wife Violet, cousin of Constance and Eva Gore-Booth of Lissadell, County Sligo, commenced a transformation of Garinish Island to Peto's design in 1911, employing more than 100 men between 1911 and 1914. Work continued apace until the outbreak of the First World War. By this time, many of the Italianate Renaissance-style buildings, along with 2 stories gardener's cottage, constructed of local stone with green slate roof in an Edwardian picturesque style, had been completed. Peto brought a collection of architectural stone carvings purchased in Italy, Spain and France to display in the gardens, and intended to integrate them into a new grand house on the island. The palatial 7-story house was never executed due to the collapse of the Russian market in 1917, which brought with it the decline of the Bryce's financial fortunes. However, hundreds of species of exotic plants had been introduced to the island by this time. You visit a place like this, one has to pinch oneself and appreciate and recognize that you are alive and that you're so lucky to be able to see these places that our little Emerald Isle has to offer. Well, in all the walking I've done in the past 2 or 3 or 4 years, and all the island walking, this is my 9th island. I think I've seen some spectacular
and sensational locations and environments. But to walk here on this island this morning, on Garinish Island this morning, is no doubt one of the greatest privileges and walks that I've had in the past 4 years. This place is just magnificent, and I don't get paid from Cork tourism or anything like that, but you have got to come. Those of you that haven't been on Garinish Island, you certainly need to come, pick your day and come out here.
Following the death of her husband in 1923, Violet Annan Bryce took up permanent residency in the gardener's cottage. By this time, the cottage had been extended to include an extension to the drawing room. In 1925, the gardens here were opened to the public to generate income, thereby creating a relationship between the island and the public. In 1928, Scottish gardener Murdo Mackenzie was appointed by Violet. Much of Peto and Bryce's early planting had perished in a series of storms. Mackenzie began the planting of new shelter beds of Scots and Monterey pine, and eventually the gardens began to flourish. Violet's son, Roland Lestrange Bryce, joined her in 1932. Shortly afterwards, in 1940, the cottage was remodeled and extended into an Edwardian middle-class home. 2-story over basement with 6 bedrooms and separate quarters for the owners and guests and for the staff. On the death of Roland in 1953, Garinish Island was gifted to the Irish people and entrusted to the care of the Office of Public Works. Mackenzie continued to tend the gardens until his retirement in 1971 and lived and worked there until his death in 1983. The Bryce's housekeeper, Margaret O'Sullivan, lived and worked there from 1926 up until a few years prior to her death in 1999. Following this, the house was entirely vacant and as a consequence deteriorated significantly. But there remained, miraculously, evidence of a way of life forever gone, still visible in the fragments that had been left behind. A project team was established by the OPW, and its goal was to open Mrs. Annan's Bryce family home to the public and share its stories and secret life in a museum and exhibition style presentation, and to make the house, garden and unique features universally accessible. Although noted for the Italian gardens, there is a strong Japanese influence running throughout the design. This is particularly evident at the Grecian temple, which frames the Sugarloaf Mountain in a manner which is highly suggestive of Mount Fuji in Japan.
I'm here at the Grecian temple. The Caja Mountains are in the background. Bantry Bay is here to my left, and the tide is just beginning to come in. Can I hark on about the weather once more? Please? Yeah. I'll say no more after this sentence. Stunning weather, beautiful weather, magic weather, weather for walking, weather for an environment like where I now am. Aren't you very lucky to have me in your midst? I bring you to all these really interesting but beautiful places.
The Italian tea house
seems close in style to a Japanese tea house, while potted dwarf trees resemble bonsai. The planting of South American and Oriental trees and shrubs is surely a delight here, such as the fine example of Chilean myrtle, which can be seen in the glade known as the Happy Valley. Garinish Island is renowned for its richness of plant form and colour, changing continuously with the seasons. The vivid colours of rhododendrons and azaleas reach their peak during May and June, whilst the hundreds of cultivars of climbing plants, herbaceous perennials and choice shrubs dominate the midsummer period from June to August. Autumn colour, particularly on the magnificent heather bank, is rich during the usually mild early autumn months of September and October. Because of its sheltered situation and the warming oceanic influence of the Gulf Stream, the climate is in some respect almost subtropical and is favourable to the growth of ornamental plants from many parts of the world. The winters here are mild and frosts are light and of short duration.
Now, probably make an idiot out of myself here when I'm going to make an attempt to pronounce the botanical names. Anyway, what I'm looking at here is Rhododendron macabinum. So, what it says is, native to Manipur in the foothills of eastern Himalaya. Introduced by Frank Kingdon Ward in 1928, handsome leaves up to 30 centimetres long, large pale yellow flowers in March and in April. There are some really impressive ferns growing sporadically around the gardens here. And I've got this place to myself this morning. I don't know what species of tree this is, but 'tis an ancient beast commanding a lot of space in the canopy.
Even for those who are not interested in gardens, Garinish Island is an attractive place to visit. There are many attractive views of the scenery of the surrounding district from the island. Ilnacullen and its surrounding waters are quite rich in wildlife, the seals which frequent on the rocks on the southern shore being of particular interest to many visitors.
I think it's well and truly time that I remove the outer garments. No, not all my garments. You might like to see that. I don't think you should see that, but I'm going to remove the outer garments because it's very, very warm now and it's awfully sheltered here. I'm approaching the Martello Tower and there are quite a number of steps to thread upon number one. So I'm on my way to the Martello Tower. Now this wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea,
were you to have issues with hips and knees and so forth. A long flight of blue shale steps leads up to the Martello Tower, located here on the island's highest point. It was built by the British War Office in about 1805 as a defence against the feared Napoleonic invasion. Like other Martello Towers here in County Cork, its walls are vertical rather than sloping, as is usual elsewhere. This is said to be due to the high rainfall which washed the lime mortar out of sloping walls before it could set. This tower is in an excellent state of preservation and offers fine panoramic views. The viewpoint south of the Martello Tower affords views of Bantry Bay and Whiddy Island. It was in this area of Ilnacullen that Annan Bryce had initially planned to build his residence. The residence, of a huge scale, was planned to incorporate the Martello Tower as a music room. I have to go up the spiral staircase. So I'm here on top of the Martello Tower, here on Garinish Island. Bit of a climb up the steps and then a spiral staircase. But well worth the climb, well worth the effort, well worth making the effort. This is a stunning place, an absolutely stunning place. Well, I'm standing here on a lofty perch, and I am on a lofty perch on Garinish Island, and it's 19 degrees and rising, and it's quite early in the morning. But take a look at the Caha Mountains and the scenery right behind me. I've had to remove all the garments and the scarf because the mercury was rising. Remember the movie Mercury Rising? It's so still and calm here. 19 degrees at the moment. Having begun this morning at 1 degrees. So, pretty dramatic, but I'm loving it. In the shade here amongst the vegetation, the tall mature trees, the colours and the sunbeams and the bird song is such, it's heavenly. Of course, this territory here would now be the home of the white-tailed eagle, sea eagle, but I'm not lucky enough to find one or see one as yet. But we were told on the boat that there is a nest here with sea eagles resident.
Now many steps here, so you've been forewarned. And yet more steps. Walking here in the walled garden this morning, enjoying this kind of weather, I feel that I'm out and about in the south of France, or back in my second home down under. It's a privilege and a rarity, indeed a rarity, to enjoy a place like this with weather like this, and that's for sure. I've walked many islands in the past year. As I've said to you already, this is number 9. But this is by far the most beautiful island probably that I've ever walked in the world. Probably is. The sounds of nature, the aroma from all the different tropical plants, and the climate today. All the ingredients to make this a wonderful day. As I walk around here, it's very easy to conjure up thoughts and desires. I could be in Narnia. There's just a sort of a fairy tale feeling and sense of belonging to a place like this. And I picked the most gorgeous day ever to visit this heavenly garden, heavenly island. So the tree here with the most beautiful aroma is the Magnolia michelia. Now I hope you're impressed with my mastering of the botanical names. And as the morning goes on, I'll be getting better. In fact, I'll be an absolute expert by the time I leave this island today. Absolutely, I'll be fantastic in my pronunciation of the botanical names in this glorious garden. So I hope you're impressed. Oh my God, I have to bring a bit of humor into this, I suppose. I've just made up my mind. I'm not going home today. I'm going to stay here on this garden and call it home. I wish
don't see any botanical nameplate hanging on this species, but it's equally attractive regarding aroma. It is so sweet, so pure, just fills your nostrils with delight. Now folks, if I could bottle the smell, the aroma from this magnolia here, it is overwhelming. My goodness me, it's just, you could sit here all day and all night. It's beautiful. Well, I'm here beside a sweet Michelia. Native to the Indian subcontinent, it occurs in subtropical mountain forests in eastern Himalaya, Nepal, Bhutan, India, North Myanmar and China. This species has significantly decreased in the wild. A spectacular evergreen tree laden with heavily scented white flowers in spring. My God, it is just beautiful. Of course, it's only the first week of April, and many of the plants haven't as yet bloomed. But those that have, they're quite spectacular, even at this early time. Well now folks, I'm about to depart the walled garden. I tried to get into Bryce House, but they're closed for lunch and the next tour is at 2 p.m. So either I'll kill some time and wait on, or leave it for another day.
The hope is that Garinish Island will continue to inspire and enchant a whole new generation of visitors, like it has been doing for over 90 years. The storm has passed, the wind now gently lulls, the waves so lately on destruction bent. Firm Garinish stands, while round it sweeps the gulls, magnificent in every element.
Well folks, that concludes my long trek around Garinish Island, Ilnacullen Gardens. A morning and weather that were so perfect for such a perfect place to enjoy. So folks, I'm going to bid you all farewell and thank you for tagging along with me. As always, I appreciate the company. So I hope you enjoyed the video and take care of each other. I'll have a long drive home now to North Cork from here. So thank you all for tagging along with me, for your likes, your shares, all your comments, all your questions, and I hope I've answered those as best and as eloquently as I could. So thank you all folks. Take care now and God bless you all.